Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Nashville. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Brian David Marshall, and we are just about underway in round 4 here. Where are we starting?
Oh, look at that. It's a Herald of Anafenza.
Wow, turn 1 here? Now, this is actually Andrew Cuneo, though, on the left-hand
That
side.
might be the most
Josh
aggressive
Cho.
play Andrew Cuneo has ever made in his life.
But he's not attacking, right? I mean, maybe this turn he will, but because it costs 3 mana to outlast, but only when forced to.
Yeah, and he's just, he
Wow,
really
2
is.
1-drops.
He's just white-black.
Right.
Oh, no.
Wait a minute, did that just happen? Did
Yes, that
Arc
did.
Lightning just buzz down both of those creatures? Unbelievable. Wow, that's nasty.
And then an Abzan Falconer to sort of
Great
fill the void.
follow-up, but still, Josh Cho has to be thrilled with the way that opener went.
Wow.
Once that Herald of Anafenza gets going, it can get really out of hand. Alabaster Cure, normally a pretty sweet card, but not particularly amazing here, as that Abzan Falconer is going to pick up a counter here and just outclass it immediately. This next turn it can block or attack however Andrew Cuneo sees fit. It does look, though,
Cuneo,
like he's missing black mana
Cuneo,
here.
the 2-color deck.
And of course, he's the one with the mana problem.
Yeah. Josh Cho has all his mana available to him. He's got black, he's got red, he's got white. Double black, only single red.
Looks like he's going to go for a Ruthless Ripper face down here. Sometimes that 2 life loss can really be important, and we'll see if he has a way to flip it up when that time comes. But for now,
so, yeah.
Abzan Falconer is going to pick up a second counter and then be joined by a mysterious morph creature from Cuneo.
I'm curious what Cuneo's... Well, one of the things with the 2-color deck is, like, your morphs are become a little more predictable, right?
Oh, absolutely. Way more predictable. And he's got a nice follow-up play, well, a decent one with an Anok Tracker 3/3 first strike. He's just going to pay full price for a BDM. He's not fussing around.
Yeah.
And it looks like Cuneo is now on the defensive, as he's not going to put another counter on his Falconer. He's going to leave it back to block. The morph is also back to block, but with only 1 color of mana and only 4 of that color. It's a little bit of a rough spot.
Nope. Oh.
Wow, Abzan Battle Priest here for Josh Cho. But he has no attacks. He's just going to pass the turn. There's a 5th land for Cuneo, who simply passes the turn back. I see that he's got a Feat of Resistance in hand. The 5th mana could be huge too.
Right.
Like, does he have like a War Behemoth or something in his list?
He has a Watcher of the Roost.
Okay.
And
okay, he just found a Swamp BDM, so.
yeah, the big cards in his deck are the Herald of Anafenza and High Sentinels of Rush.
Wow, he's got both?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, one of them's in the bin, so he's going to have to
And
try to
obviously
find
that
the High
Abzan
Sentinels.
Falconer's been doing some hard work in terms of just
Shields up.
keeping Josh Cho's team back.
It's holding 3 to 4 creatures back by itself. And there's a Disowned Ancestor. So not exactly the turn 6 play that Cuneo was hoping for, but at least he found that black mana and can start working towards that goal.
Toughness engaged.
Indeed. But it's a little bit rough because right now Josh Cho, if he attacks with his Abzan Battle Priest, it does have 4 power. It can get through any of the creatures there, but if that creature were to be like a War Behemoth or something, he would be pretty embarrassed to have it just get eaten.
You're gonna have, it's basically either Krumar Bondkin or Ruthless Ripper for Cuneo.
Okay.
That's what it looks like.
For us, right?
Yeah.
But for Josh, he's got to consider.
Sure.
And he's in face-up mode. He's just went full price and everything.
It's right a lot of the time.
Yeah, Sage Eye Harrier. It is right a lot more, I think, than people give it credit for. But there's the Sage Eye Harrier follow-up.
You know, even if you don't have Feat of Resistance, being able to represent Feat of Resistance here, and just I don't know.
Sure.
You don't want to just have to tap and play your morph mana, then untap and to unmorph it at the end of the turn, and then your opponent kills something.
Right. And this is a Watcher of the Roost here for Cuneo. I really like that card. Seems to overperform every time I play it. Not having to pay mana, it just, like, it's deceptively good, right? Like, you obviously can read the card and say, well, this looks pretty good. I don't have to pay mana to flip it up. But when you actually play it in the game, it feels like such a huge tempo hit. All right.
Cho is just working that battle priest.
Man, if that thing ever dies, he's going to be super bummed. He's put multiple turns into it, but there's a kill shot right on time off the top for Cuneo. So now if that battle priest ever rumbles,
you just have to assume
down
Cuneo
it will
always
go.
has the kill shot. It seems like a consummate Cuneo card.
like I would play around Cuneo countering my spells at this point, and he's on white-black. Four planes in play. Cuneo will find a way.
Looks like he's also holding a Ray to the Serpent that he's waiting for a second black mana for.
All right. Yeah, you're correct. All right, so Abzan Battle Priest cracks in. And does Cuneo have any reason to do anything here? You know, he could line up some huge block to try to draw out something, but given how big the Battle Priest is, he's probably not going to be able to get away with that, and he just ends up taking on extra risk.
Yeah.
So he's just going to go ahead and kill shot. Pre-blocks,
Wow,
and there's the
the
feat.
Yep.
Yeah, so Feat of Resistance is going to throw yet another counter on and give it pro-white, meaning only the morphs can block it now. And they're not going to block it though. So bang, 7 with lifelink.
Yeah, I was going to say a
Wow.
big life swing there for Josh.
And more importantly for Josh, you know, now he's got a threat that he can attack with every turn into this board and force Andrew Cuneo to find something. Now, a swamp would do the trick here. And Josh Cho has nothing and just says go. Did he find it? Is that a swamp?
That
It
is
is.
a swamp. I think we're going to just see.
Probably just fires it off,
Yeah,
right?
you just do that right
Yeah,
now.
he gets a snake too.
It's as good as that card will ever look.
Right. Yes. And snake.
And snake.
That's a 1/1 snake. No, it does not have death touch. It's more like a garden snake. Not an asp.
Interesting. 3 Jeskai students in Cuneo's sideboard.
Okay. Yeah, so he's definitely taking a more middle
Yeah.
ground approach.
Take up arms also in his sideboard in white.
Okay. And here comes this morph, which most assuredly is going to be that Krumar Bonkin. I think he
Yeah.
was waiting to hit the second black mana here. Cuneo's going to chump. He's down to 7. Wow, Herald of Anafenza on both sides?
Woof.
Wow. So now Josh Cho has a long-term game plan and a reasonable board state to back it up as well. But I think it's going to get injured. I feel like the Herald is going to get stabbed here, and we're not going to see it.
You think there's a debilitating injury in his future?
I do believe so. There's also a Bellowing Saddle Brute.
I feel like that's the only black
For
card in his
Cuneo.
hand here.
Oh, is that the only one? Okay.
I think so. I
All right.
think it's Bellowing Saddlebrute, Feat of Resistance, and 2 lands. But
Okay.
I could be,
No, you might be right. So if that's the case, then Cuneo sure would like to get that
or that might
Saddlebrute
be
going.
a chief of the Edge or Scale. It's
Okay.
a chief. It's one of the chiefs.
Okay, well, first things first, attack with the morph. This leaves him 5 mana up to turn it face up. Or he can play that chief as well. But Josh Cho's lining up a big block here, it looks like. He's going to block with those 2 creatures. So the Watcher of the Roost is the one on the bottom. This does not leave Cuneo in a position where he actually gets to kill a creature. He's just throwing away the morph if that's what he's doing. All right, Harrier first.
And here comes Feat of Resistance.
Okay, but that's still not enough to get through the Harrier. So he's going to need to turn it face up, and it's the Bonkin. All right. So Harrier down. But it does look, in fact, like Josh Cho is going to get to untap with Herald of Anafenza and start to go off.
That's lucky.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Very, very powerful card. It makes a token when you outlast, and of course, it picks up that counter too. So I'm assuming this is a Krumar Bonkin if I'm Cuneo, though. I don't know for sure what that is. We didn't see that one, right?
No, I think that's a Ruthless Ripper.
Oh, that's a Ruthless Ripper from way early in the game.
Yeah.
You're totally right, BDM. So basically, what Josh is saying is either he's drawn a black card or he just doesn't care. He has drawn a black card, and it is a Ponyback Brigade. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. In the meantime, we're both going to be revealing. He reveals the chief.
You lose 2, I
And they're
gain
going
2.
to trade, yeah, and then they actually equal each other out hilariously. All right, so that actually worked out pretty well for Cuneo. He didn't have to trade an air quotes real card for it.
Right.
Ponyback Brigade, though, hitting the battlefield, is going to give Josh Cho,
And then
in addition to the warrior, yeah, he's going to get some width going here,
Yeah.
and he's going to start threatening to kill Andrew Cuneo in a turn or 2.
Right, deploys 5 creatures that turn.
Wow, 5 creatures in 1 turn.
Yeah. I mean, all of Andrew's creatures fly at the moment.
Mm-hmm. The problem is that Josh had that big life gain swing, and
Yeah.
Andrew hasn't been able to pressure his life total at all. So sitting at 27, it's just not realistic for Cuneo to really put real pressure on Josh right now. I mean, maybe he can start chipping away, but that's all he's doing. Casting the Bellowing Saddle Brood is basically not an option here. I mean, he could technically do it, but it would put him at 3 and effectively dead on board without anything to back it up, so that's not going to do it.
He could trade an attack with. Oh,
He's going to get in for a nice big chunk of damage, but he's going to need to bolster his board after this attack. The Saddle Brood will do a nice job, but maybe a morph or something would go a long way as well. This is a big hit. It's for 10.
Like, okay, take 10.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Cho has life total to work with. He doesn't really need to worry about it. And
Here's
there's the Saddle Brood, but what's the follow-up? Wow, Soul Tie Scavenger. So really nice turn there for Cuneo. He's barely alive, but that certainly is going to help. He's now got 3 blockers facing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 attackers potentially. But Josh does have to be careful because Andrew actually could threaten crackback here, right? So it's
he can
6.
just let 4 tokens through, go to 3, and say, okay, okay, maybe you have Russia. Do you have an overrun?
Right. Yeah, and Cuneo does have enough power on the battlefield to crack back for lethal here if Josh Cho were to leave himself open. So he's got to be really careful.
And Josh doesn't want to attack with Herald.
2, 3, I don't know. Math, numbers, probably not. Like normally you just want to sit there and grind it out, but I've also had people keep making tokens after their Herald got to 6, 7 and could just beat, just start killing my creatures every turn or whatever. Interesting to see when it's time to turn that corner,
But if he attacked here, it would definitely. I mean, unless if you have the pump, right? If you have the spell that rewards you for having gone wide, then you just win here. But if not, you're just going to throw away actual creatures and leave a couple tokens around for Cuneo to mop up next turn.
The problem, I mean, the interesting thing is that Andrew's at 7. I mean, he's got 3 blockers. He's facing 8 creatures. He's taking at least 5 here.
Okay, at least 5.
In fact, it's like at least 6. Yeah,
it is 6.
So bare minimum 6. But like we said, 3, 6. Yeah, the problem is that Cuneo does have enough power and toughness to be able to block effectively and then crack back and kill Josh Cho.
That's what Josh is looking at me. He's like, what are the blocks you're going to line up? What are you going to do? And you see a hand reaching in, Josh Utter-Leyton sort of saying, well, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
Don't forget about that.
Josh is doing the math on this attack. The real question is, what does he have in his hand? Because he can move all in for an attack and set up the kill next turn, or at least making Cuneo stop attacking him.
There's a bunch of cards, right? He can have a Trumpet Blast, he can have
I think he just went.
He can have an Arrow Storm, a Russia Battle.
Yeah, Trumpet Blast, but those all just win on the spot. So if he had either of those, he would have already attacked, I think.
Yeah. So he just makes another token, and then plays a Skull Hunter that's a blank.
He wasn't willing to throw away one of the 1/1 goblins to get that Skull Hunter active. Could have. If he thought the card was more important than the 1 power from the token. But he decided not to.
I don't know what Andrew could have at this point.
I mean, End Hostilities comes to mind. Doesn't have that, does he?
No, that was one of the first things I checked.
Yeah, and he doesn't have that, so How many warriors does he have? Could he rush of battle here and gain like
He's not
copious amounts of life? All right, well, how about a chief of the scale? Does that change the math?
I don't think it gets him to 17 on
Because the
blood
scavenger's a warrior, right?
Yeah.
And the bondkin's a warrior. The saddle brute, I don't think is a warrior. The saddle brute is a warrior. The disowned ancestor is a warrior too. The Abzan falconer's not. It's a soldier, I think. So this does get kind of interesting. Though I agree, BDM, I don't think that Cuneo can actually kill him. So hit there for 7. Drop Josh Show down to 10. That's a big hit. And does Josh have enough to actually go all in here?
It's
No,
a little worse
right?
now because there's more blockers this turn than there were last turn. Although
He
two
can
more
hit for
although
5.
2 more attackers this turn.
There's 2 more attackers and an extra power, but yeah, it's still only hitting for 5 without any help. So right now, Josh Cho like just on the edge of being able to win here. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see if Cuneo attacks again with the
there's
bomb.
There's only one creature with flying that can block on Cho's side of the table.
Yeah.
The Falconer,
The Kirin.
the Bondkin, and the Disowned Ancestor all fly.
Yeah. Can he kill him here
And
if
the
he blocks?
Scavenger.
He takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He would take him down to 2 if he could get a counter on something. Actually, wait a minute. That's more than that. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think he just kills him here, right?
I think so.
Attack with all. Kirin has to jump in front of the Bondkin. He takes 4 from the Sultai Scavenger. He takes another 4 from the guy, and then 2 on the end.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Now, Cuneo is going to see that and decide, well, is there a way that I can play around anything here? You know, a kill shot or something. The problem is, Josh Cho would have played kill shot. You know, like Cuneo should know that he doesn't have it. And it's probably time just to go,
He's like, oh,
well,
look at my flyers.
gentlemen, it is time.
Yeah, you see him pointing. He's probably talking to his teammates. He's like, do I just go for it?
Do I just move in here? It's lethal. What would BDM do? Jam?
I just jam.
I'm jamming for sure. Because I think you might be dead next turn anyway, and any top deck could kill you. Like you said, Trumpet Blast, Arrow Storm, a pump spell. Like you're just dead to all of it.
Pretty good comeback from that turn 3 Arc Lightning.
Yeah, I guess you can't really put him on Arrow Storm since he's splashing red, but still. And there it is. He's going to get him, I think. I don't think that Josh has any way to interact here. No.
Wow.
Cuneo pulls it off.
Amazing.
Wow, what a great win for Andrew.
Yep, just went to work with his Abzan Falconer early, said I'm going to get some counters on this thing. Now I'm going to hold the board, and now I'm going to slowly build up an army of flyers with a lot of toughness. They're going to keep you at bay until it's time to kill you over, 2.5 attack steps.
Right. Josh
Peck
Cho
away.
at 27 life.
That's
With
absurd.
Cuneo at 7 or whatever, and just never took another damage. Maybe Josh Cho should have put the pedal to the metal earlier. Because the interesting effect that has is he loses some creatures, he gets his opponent down to 2 or 1 life total, and then his opponent can't attack him back.
Look at this where we get to look in on David Ochoa versus Josh Utter-Leyton.
These guys are like actual best friends.
Yeah.
They test together, they've played together, they came up through the ranks together.
Two Channel Fireball members.
Yep, absolutely.
Like,
2 of the originals.
Just originals, yeah.
The Primist.
The OC.
The OCFB.
Yeah. Just plays a
Now the interesting part about this
face up Pine Walker.
is that these guys also know each other, like they've tested so much with each other, and they also have a fairly similar approach to the game, from a theory standpoint, that they are going to just be able to read each other's minds when it comes to making these plays. Like none of these things are going to be surprises to them,
These
which
guys
I think
have
is fascinating.
Probably played several hundred cons limited matches against each other.
Could be. They were locked up in that house. Poor guys locked up in that house in Hawaii for 2 weeks.
It really is
Having to
sad.
play Magic every single
Won't
day.
anyone help them?
Send help.
This board sort of Slog down. Pine Walker, two smoke tellers versus Scion of Glaciers.
You know,
How do you like Scion?
I don't think I've ever resolved one.
Really? But you're such a fan of toughness.
I love the card.
Yeah.
It's just the double blue scares me.
Yeah. Summit Prowler comes down.
Also, when literally every card in your deck is a splash, like how I've been drafting lately.
Dig through time.
Digging? Does this resolve? Absolutely. Wow.
I mean,
Dig through time and wow! Look at the card. Look at the top card.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. This card
And
might
hostility.
This card might feel more broken in limited than Fact or Fiction felt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really close.
Fact or Fiction wasn't uncommon, is that right?
Yeah.
God, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it may actually feel more backbreaking.
So do you think that Josh is now going to plan his entire game around that end hostilities?
Yes.
Or is he just going to fire it off? Like he's at a high life total.
That would be a great plan right there, right?
Yeah. And he just passes the turn. So now the question is, does David Ochoa figure it out? Like how in the heck can Josh not play anything?
And they've certainly compared their decks to each other.
8 mana and like 5 or 6 cards in hand. David Ochoa did not figure it out. He's running out even more creatures. Is David Ochoa playing cancel?
Now
that's interesting. Don't you think he would have canceled the dig through time though?
Sure.
That can't be the read if you're Josh. But that is a really interesting question, VDM. I am now curious about that. All right, here it is. End hostilities. It's on the stack, and they all go down. Nothing like a good old 5 for 2. Now, this is a great part though for Utter-Leyton is he doesn't have a plan. So he just sensed that Ochoa had enough critical mass to start bashing. Yeah. And wanted to fire it off then. And interestingly as well, Josh Utter-Leyton not attacking with his Scion of Glaciers. Normally you just free roll the attack.
Yeah.
But in case it got countered, he wanted to have his blocker back.
So Winter Flame.
And it looks like
draws an Awaken the Bear. It gets tapped too though. It's like tap it and 2 damage to it.
Just did them both to that, sure.
Yeah, fistful of cards.
So what's the rebuild plan here for Josh?
We'll leave it starts with Alabaster Kieran.
All right. He's lining up his mana.
Maybe bigger.
There he is. You get a look at Josh, and there is the Ocho, as he's known, David Ochoa on the left with the glasses there.
And then the sort of combination of their names, Josh Cho, off on the right of your screen. Okay, 5 mana.
We got a lot of Joshes here.
Oh, wow. No. Warden of the Eye.
What do you get back? Dig through time again?
That's Josh, you are a disgusting human being.
Josh, I love you, buddy.
You are disgusting.
That's fantastic. Wow. He got a 5 for 2. He got a 2 for 1 off of his own dig, and now we got a 2 for 1, and it's going to go into another 2 for 1.
You do not want this video circulating if you decide to run for office later in life, because you are doing unspeakable things to David Ochoa here.
It shows he has no compassion.
Yeah.
Wow. Josh Utter-Leyton defining value here in the future match area against David Ochoa, who now has a pair of creatures.
Yeah.
Wow, and Josh is just going to battle with his
Warden of the Eye.
Warden. In it goes.
Or is it Warden the Eye?
We found an of for this one.
The of tribe.
Yeah, Master of the Way. Warden of the Eye. Oh,
and then
there is a nice one here.
Marty Heartpiercer.
Yep, Heartpierce, and indeed it does. So, another 2 for 1.
Yep. And now
this has been unbelievable.
And Alabaster Kieran.
Josh played a 2 for 1, a 5 for 2, a 2 for 1, and a 2 for 1 in a row. How in the world can David Ochoa come back from this?
I don't think
Josh is at 22. Like, you just can't overcome that kind of
David's
card
up.
advantage.
By the way, David's up a game in this match.
Wow, it looks like the whole team is.
Yeah. Like, can Josh get deep enough to see like the 5 cards he put on the bottom from the last
Yes,
time?
he totally can. I mean, that's 14 cards he will have gone through just off of those. Meanwhile, Jeskai Ascendancy hits the battlefield, and Josh is going to get his beat down on. Looks like a Defiant Strike incoming.
Boy.
Bink, Defiant Strike, trigger this thing,
Draw
untap my
2, discard
creatures.
1.
This is unbelievable. Loot, draw, and by the way, take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's not nice.
Yeah, take notes, people.
Wow.
You make the top 8 of your PTQ, this is the deck you want right there.
My goodness. Blue, white. A little bit of red.
Yeah.
Who knew? Oh, but wait, he's got more. A Jeskai Elder as well. And he sort of flippantly shifts the
you're
turn back.
green, red, maybe you have a little blue. What are you going to do? Yeah.
All right, and David Ochoa feels comfortable with the board state enough to know that he's not getting out of this one.
Wow.
Remember, that dig through time was still sitting in Raptors. He's just like, yeah, you know, in case I need it.
Yeah.
Although, that's the only look you'll ever get out of him.
That is actually, he's pretty happy there.
He was thrilled.
Oh, look at this. We got a couple of, this is Cuneo and Josh Cho again. We got a couple of Heralds of Anafenza facing off against each other.
Yeah, we haven't seen table C
let's
yet.
see,
Why
let's take a
don't we
look at
jump
that.
over there? Yeah. All right, so this is Brock Parker
hi.
on the left here. What do we have? A Manus Rider and a War-Named Aspirant facing down, kind of the opposite here. I don't think they're sharing any colors. It's, I guess maybe there's a white in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
but,
they're both sharing a little white. That's an Armament Core and a Sultai Flayer.
Sultai of Flayer.
Yeah.
And that's Waterworld?
That is Waterworld. One of.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's no Postman, but.
But you like it?
I do. I love Waterworld.
I like it too. I've been on the bad end of that card.
I'm a big fan.
I have put people on the bad end of that card. It does reward you for getting to 6 mana. Not the most flexible spell. I mean, I take a Force Away over it every time, but still not bad. And it looks like Gerry is down to 1 here.
Oh,
but now he's got a creature.
Oh, he shows him the Mardu
Heartpiercer means that he can just attack into those 2 creatures anyway. That was actually a huge turn though for Gerry though, because he made a reach creature that was bigger than the Manus Rider, and then another creature that was big enough to block on the ground.
He's gonna have 4/4 reach and 5/5 reach.
But Parker had it, and Parker takes the match.
Wow, first match of the set.
Yeah.
For the Channel Fireball Prime, Channel Fireball Pantheon hybrid team here.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're in round 4 here in Nashville. Both of these teams are 3-0 coming into the round, though they will not leave that way. One's going to have to pick up a loss here.
So there's a Sultai Scavenger.
Massive Sultai Scavenger, if we believe the die.
Dueling Heralds of Anafenza.
They've both got one?
Yeah, they both got it in play.
Looks
There's
like
one up on top there.
Looks like the first one to have a Herald of Anafenza seems to be a significant advantage there.
Uh-oh.
So a Merrick Nightblade.
Yeah, so now all the creatures with +1/+1 counters have First Strike and Death Touch for Josh Cho, making them
combo assembled. BDM. I've never had that 2-card combo.
Yeah. Oh.
It's not even that hard to get. Merrick Nightblade's an uncommon. Enoch Bonkin's a common. You can do that, but I haven't had it. That's sweet.
Yeah, now he's
yes, Josh Cho. Yes.
He's like, block at your own peril.
Yes. Now, interestingly, he did get in there with his Herald. He figures a 2/3 Death Touch First Strike.
Yeah, he's like,
if you want
to put 3 guys in front of him to kill him,
yes,
I will take that trade.
Especially given the board state that Cuneo has here. He certainly doesn't want to throw away any 3 of these really powerful creatures.
And so in case people don't know, just the way it works is First Strike, you deal point of damage here, point of damage there, because you have Death Touch, you get to split your damage up, you don't have to deal all your damage.
Yeah, you must deal lethal, which in this case is 1.
Right. So.
Yeah, so they die.
Yeah.
And your guy doesn't. And you're the happiest person ever. Now, we could throw Trample into the mix, but we'll leave it at First Strike Death Touch for now. They're all ankle shankers now.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Now this is interesting as well. Josh does have the ominous mana for Feat of Resistance up, which means that if attacked back,
yeah.
he could make something have first strike and death touch on defense. Also, is that a Grim Harspex I see there on Josh's side?
It's sure what it looks like. I was just trying to, yeah, it is.
Yeah, so that's a great one too. It's a 3/2, but whenever another non-token creature that Josh controls dies, he'll get to draw a card.
Falconer comes down, and we get in for 7 points of flying.
Wow. And Herald of Onofenza is going to pick up its first counter, and that means chump blockers probably. All right, no play there from Josh Cho on end step, so we don't know what he's got, but
Upton Falconer has just looked amazing this game.
it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the few cards that I'll take over a tri-land or a dual land.
It's just always 5-color.
Like 80% of the time. Like, until they stop me, it's my new motto.
Okay.
And I have been stopped. Like, somebody else was taking 5-color, and so I shifted down to 3, but it's too good.
I like my Obzon.
Love
Guys.
Obzon.
Yeah.
Love Obzon too.
Wow. So, Andrew Cuneo's at 11. He has 1, 2, 3 blockers, although he does not want to block with that Falconer, so really he only has 2 blockers here. Looks like he can survive
Yes.
an all-out attack.
He doesn't take much from Josh Cho, though, to tip the scales. And now he gets to have Gerry Thompson whispering in his ear, letting him know exactly what to do and what not to do.
And he just whispered, dude, this is bad.
Yeah, no, I think he just whispered, dude, check this out. might win this next turn here. Can't get in for lethal here, but can get in for a decent chunk of damage, and there he goes.
All right, first strike death touchers get in.
I think Cuneo is trying to decide if he wants to throw that token in front. They're not flying or anything, right? So
no,
he could prevent 3 damage here with the token. If he doesn't think it's going to be important on the crackback, he might just throw it under the bus. If he feels like he needs every single creature, he can fairly safely take the damage and not. He dies to a few things, but all right, he is going to go ahead and chump.
Yeah.
He's going to have him taking 2, drop down to 9.
Oh, but then
I didn't see it.
It was a throttle on the Falconer.
Ah. So he does not get to untap with that Falconer, and his 2 creatures with counters on it drop right back down to the ground where they belong. He still has a flyer.
And still threatening Feat of Resistance from Josh Cho.
Interesting. He's kept that up the whole time. Andrew Cuneo is going to be keenly aware of feat, but he also is going to know when he can afford to play around it and when he can't.
He also has a Feat of Resistance. He has one in hand.
Josh Cho at 9. Right now, Cuneo has a pretty built-out board state here. 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 power he's got. So he can deliver a nice punch here. It's just a question if he wants to try to like piece this out over 2 turns.
All right, fly over for 5.
So that means that he can kill Josh Cho next turn, but he needs to survive this turn. So he's going to play Salt Road Patrol and leave up, again, I mentioned it was ominous when Josh did it. It's also ominous when Cuneo does it. That Feat of Resistance mana, which is basically here to protect his creatures from a removal spell. Sure, he can tussle and take down something, but really he just doesn't want to have his creature like stolen or killed.
Right. And well, he hasn't wanted to just throw his guys away on the past turns. He'll just do that here.
Remember when I told you that Andrew would find a counter spell? He found a counter spell. I told you, only planes, it's all he needs. And he will find one. So Joshua is currently dead in the air. If he doesn't win this turn or take care of one of those flyers, he's just going to die.
Just attacks with his 2 guys.
Interesting. It does look like that's what he's doing. Could be a Ruthless Ripper face down there. That's an extra 2 damage that Cuneo might not be able to account for.
Oh, wow. What is the morph? What is the card in Cuneo's hand? We know that we know one of them is Feet of Resistance. What are you doing here? Are you blocking?
I'm definitely blocking. I mean, I've got lethal in the air, so I'm less worried about that. I also feel like Josh has to have something here.
Right. And even though Red's...
What I'd really like to do is keep my Feet of Resistance around so that if Josh's plan is to play a flying creature, I can get through.
So he just throws away the Disowned Ancestor and takes 2 from the Herald of Anafenza.
And there it is. It is, in fact, a flying creature. Now, the downside here is that, unfortunately for Cuneo, his 2 creatures in the air are 2 different colors, but he's got feet for this one. That's going to get him in for 4, and that's lethal. That's it. Unless, is that a Watcher of the Roost? This is a lethal attack. Nope,
Yep.
He doesn't have it, and that's going to do it. What was Josh's? Yeah, flip that thing over. I guess if you lose, it's not as incentivized, but
Well, you
still,
have to.
I mean,
Well,
what are you going to do? Get a game loss? Oh, you lose the next game loss? Gotcha. All right, so we'll see that thing flipped over here. What is it? It was
Pony
a Pony
Back.
Back Brigade. Okay. So that'll do it for the match here. Andrew.